All right, Stokastic, here we go. Thank you for the patience, everybody. It's a 7-10 lock. Things shift around, so you're still going to get us for just over an hour because that is what I do. That is what Matt Bellman does. Welcome to Stokastic on Saturday night. Mr. Bellman, how the heck are you?
I'm good, man. Happier now that I'm here with you talking some night slate MLB. Pretty split slate today with some early games and now some main games. Had a 1-year-old birthday party earlier today, so I'm just partying all day, I guess.
Oh boy, do they hand out wine at those to all the moms? Let the dads drive home?
No, but they did have a smoothie truck, which is nice. I think that was like the theme of the party. Felt like it's about 95 degrees out here today, so smoothie truck was nice. Never seen one of those before.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting there. I have not seen a smoothie truck before. We get food trucks every Tuesday here at our one of our places in Florida. So they bring a new one each week, and you can order on the app. So you just drive up to the front gate.
Oh, that's nice. So there's no long lines. That's real nice.
Exactly. And they usually will text you when it's ready. So they're pretty efficient with all of it. So.
Yeah, every time I've been to one of these, like for my daughter, there's always like an ice cream truck or whatever. The lines get so long. For this smoothie thing, the smoothies were pre-made, which was nice.
Good call. All right, let's get into the slate here. We've got a nice one, 9 games tonight. Coors Field looming large. DraftKings went heavy on some of the key hitters today. You've got like Nick Kurtz and some of the Oakland Athletics looking like they're getting Coors Field prices. Same thing with Kansas City here. And of course, Coors Field in and of itself. Pitching all over the board, some decent pitchers, but most of them appear to be in pretty tricky matchups. And the low-end guys, well, not such great matchups, at least for their skill set. So we're going to work through unpacking this. We will talk about the pitchers first here, and then we'll go game by game and cover anything else that we are missing. I did put in the chat the spotlight pitchers and top stacks article, just so everybody could have a chance to take a peek at that. Wrote up the early slate here. I think I called out Boston, if I remember correctly. So we'll see what happens there. I've got a couple lineups that might break free. I don't know. I'm not watching because Matt, before I turn this over to you with this long-winded diatribe, last Sunday I got first in the quarter contest on FanDuel. I got second and third this week as well. Second last night, and I wasn't even watching, and second on Thursday, and I wasn't even watching. Didn't know till I woke up the next morning. That's always a good feeling when you drop the hammer on 40,000 people. Of course, if I had been not a Stokastic subscriber and tweeted that out with the Stokastic avatar, I would have been eligible for the Stokastic Hall of Fame. Go me.
Man, I'll tell you what. You want to know how long-winded your answer was? Before you started talking, I was going to tell you what I would do for an Agustin Ramirez home run. He wasn't even at bat yet. Since you've been talking, he homered. So I'm just going to have you talk the entire show.
I was going to say, well, I'll keep going. Maybe they'll bat around. Let's see what happens.
I don't have the Marlin stack, but I needed the Ramirez homer.
Good times. All righty. Well, up on the screen here, half a dozen different Stokastic avatars. Download that to your DFS side of choice, or from here, upload that to your DFS side of choice. Finish top 3 in any contest that has at least 5,000 gamers in it. No 50-way ties for first, second, or third, and you can get to the different levels of the Stokastic Hall of Fame. Check this out here. I will drop this into the chat, and of course, Nightbot, I'm sure, is doing the heavy lifting as well and putting that in there. But let's talk pitching here, Matt. I turn this over to you. 4 intriguing options at the top, a couple middle options here, pricing-wise. Zebby Matthews getting a lot of love for his $6,700 salary here. Take us through the high end. Anybody 9,000 or more?
Yeah, part of the reason I don't love this slate personally is because I have used Detroit so much recently. They haven't been great, but they've been good enough to like cash lineups for me pretty consistently. And tonight, it's like the clear, obvious play is the SB against them. even though he's not a great pitcher. Starting up top, yeah, man, you kind of said it best at the beginning. Like, there are some good pitchers on this slate, but none of them are in great spots. There aren't any like, Paul Skeens tonight going, guys with that high a strikeout upside outside of Cease, who's in the toughest spot. I think up top, Fried is the best overall pitcher on the slate. But we talked about him, the last time we did a show. Like, his strikeout upside just isn't where you want it to be for a 10-2 pitcher. On this particular slate, I think he's a fine play because I don't think any pitcher has crazy high upside, but I don't feel great about spending 10-2 on Fried. Sonny Gray, I'm surprised he's the top overall guy in the top pitcher tool because he's been pretty hit or miss this year. Tough matchup against the Yankees. That said, the Yankees strike out and no Bellinger tonight. So, again, just another good pitcher with, a tough-ish spot. I mean, certainly there's power upside in the Yankees lineup, if nothing else. Cease, I think he's the most boomer bust guy on the slate. The toughest spot out of all these guys, but the Dodgers, since the All-Star break, really have been striking out a ton against right-handed pitching. No Max Muncy in this lineup doesn't help them against a guy like Cease. Certainly the top of this Dodgers lineup is scary, and Cease is the kind of guy that, he can be dominant against a great team and then really struggle against a bad team because it's all about what kind of stuff he has that day. But to me, I think he's the top guy up top. Blake Snell in that mix too, but man, really tough spot against the Padres team that doesn't strike out. Hate using left-handed pitchers, especially against the Padres. I kind of view Snell in the Fried Gray grouping at the bottom of that group with Cease at the top of that group. So I'll rank them Cease, Gray, Fried, Snell. How about yourself?
Okay, similar. So I mean, those are really the four guys, and they're going against each other, right? And two of them are going against former teams. If you get into that sort of thing here, Cease, I think, gets the slightest of slight edges. It's all comes down to, as you mentioned, to strikeouts. 30.8% strikeout rate this season. That's up from an impressive 29.1 last year. Some walks over his last 5 games, 11 walks in 26 innings. However, just 2 home runs in those games. 40 strikeouts in those 26 innings. That, friends, is what we were looking for. Of course, he's going to have to take on the Dodgers, right, to get that all done. When we look at turn around and look at the Dodgers, Blake Snell, lefty, not to be confused with Tyler Glasnow, who's a righty. Just want to put that one out there for everybody. But Snell, this is just going to be his 5th start of the season. Made 2 starts, missed 4 months with shoulder inflammation. Back, so it'll be the 3rd start. Since he has returned. It's going to be pleasant weather in Dodger Stadium. It's going to be in the low 70s. There's a little bit of a breeze out there to right field, a little bit of humidity as well. So it's going to play, Chavez Ravine is going to play more of hitting park, but we've got two of our top pitching options here. If we look at
interestingly enough, that stadium is the best home run park in baseball.
Is it really?
It is, yeah. I mean, it is a major home run park. It's not the best park for hitting or for runs, but for home runs, it's number 1.
All right. So the two most important is everybody's going to ask what's Snell's workload. Probably 85 to 90 pitches, 86 and 90 in his 2 starts. Both these teams have good bullpens, in particular the Padres. So this is a spot where they're not going to leave their guys out to absorb a ton of punishment. When we turn our attention to the other game there in St. Louis, you've got Fried, who is solid. You've got Sonny Gray, adequate, keeps chugging along, and it's, age 35 season here. So I have no complaints for either of those guys. As you mentioned, no Cody Bellinger. So that is one less competent hitter that Gray is going to have to deal with. Still not many easy outs until you get to, depending on how you feel about Volpe, Ryan McMahon, Austin Wells. Remember, at one point, Ryan McMahon was batting cleanup or 5th for the Rockies, so it's not like he's terrible. Volpe had his turn in the middle of the order here before everybody got healthy. So there are strikeouts to be had, though. This lineup tonight, 26% strikeout rate against righties. So Sonny Gray is going to be walking a fine line, but I think his DraftKings price is appropriate for the potential strikeouts that are right there for him. Oh, that is a lot going on. Let's go to the next level here. You mentioned that you weren't overly excited to go against the Motor City Kitties here. I believe they won 7-0 against the Dregs of the Minnesota Twins last night. Now they are going to be going against Zebby Matthews.
Man, I got a vent about the Tigers, man, because I've used them like basically every night for the past, seems like months, but really just the past few days. Love the spots they've been in, haven't been owned. And like I said, they've gotten me in the cash recently, not to the top because they haven't been amazing, but they've gotten me nicely cashed. Yesterday, they were in a prime spot to really do damage. They scored 7 runs off Pearson Ole in the first 3 innings, mostly singles and doubles. And I didn't even stack them because of Pearson Ole. I stacked them because of Jose Urena, who of all the bad pitchers is the worst, in my opinion. He stinks. 4th team already this year. Urena then proceeds to go out and throw 5 no-hit innings. Just had me in complete shambles watching that game. You go up 7-0, and then you don't do a thing against Urena. It's disappointing. Made me, Zebby Matthews is a guy, he's got a 30% strikeout rate so far this season. I mean, in limited action, his $6,700 price tag is just way too cheap for the strikeout pitcher he is. Doesn't mean he's impervious to getting hit. Certainly the Tigers have a bunch of guys that can do damage to him, but based on price alone, he's just a really, really strong play. We saw this work out to both extremes last night with Perkins, who was really good, and Boyle, who was really bad. So I think Matthews is tough to get away from considering the other options we have today. How about yourself?
Yeah, completely agreed. And it really comes down to that salary of whatever it was, 6,700 on DraftKings. And when you turn around and look at all those hitters that are 5,700 and more, it just the simulation, at least when I've been building the single using the single lineup simulator, it's pushing me to 2 pitchers. It's pushing me to Zebby Matthews, and it's pushing me to Cade Povich. Povich is coming in as the bulk guy after, I can't remember, Rico Garcia or someone like that. So we'll talk about him, but he is just purely salary relief at this point. So, Povich is. Matthews does have that strikeout potential himself. If we look back through last year to get a little larger sample size, 367 batters faced, 27.2 strikeout rate. So he was about 24% last year, 30% this year. As you mentioned, that's an intriguing baseline. Detroit just has 3 players that are striking out above league average: Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, and Trey Sweeney. Green and Torkelson, lefty-righty combo in the heart of the order that bring a lot of power. So, there be monsters here is what the edge of the map says. But I think I'm landing with a fair amount of Zebby Matthews. I'm curious to see what happens when I get over and build some FanDuel lineups.
Yeah.
Would you go with Casey Mize, who does not have the strikeout rates that Zebby Matthews does, but he gets to go against the Minnesota Twinkies?
Yeah, I was on Morton last night, who ended up being one of the better pitching plays on the entire slate. He was really good. A lot of that was just his veteran savviness against this young, inexperienced Twins lineup. Doesn't mean they're all going to be bad hitters, but right now this lineup is just not really functional as a team. I mean, they've got some guys in there who can hit. Keyshaw's been really good. Certainly Buxton's back, but there's a lot of holes in this lineup. That said, it's a tough ask to pay $9K for Casey Mize in any spot. Minnesota's still not the Rockies. They might be worse. They might be like the White Sox though right now, but $9K against that type of team, I'm good. I think you can do better. On this slate, I don't think he's a bad play because I think a lot of guys are just type of guys, but nothing about him makes him stand out at $9K. Actually, I think he, points per dollar wise, probably looks like one of the weaker SPs on the slate.
All right, which is the perfect segue to talk about some of those weaker pitchers. Just quick thoughts on these guys. Mentioned Povich as a little bit of salary relief because we're going to talk poorly about these guys when we get to the game-by-game section to go over stacks. Justin Verlander, 42 years old, going against Tampa Bay there in San Francisco, favorable pitching park. However, Verlander just doesn't have the strikeouts anymore. That could be a little bit of an issue. You have Slade Ciccone, who doesn't have strikeouts himself, but he gets to go against a middling Atlanta lineup that does have a 22.5% strikeout rate. 4 players strike out above league average, so he's kind of in play. Jason Alexander apparently is just not going to give up runs. That's odd. And then that wraps us up down there with Michael Lorenzen against the White Sox, which is his only redeeming quality. And I don't feel very good about Joey Wentz, but do you have any thoughts on the dregs before we flip the script over here to the offenses directly?
Yeah, I think amongst the dregs, Kate Povich looks the best. Yeah, I mean, listen, it doesn't feel good. I liked him a lot in that he was on the last slate I think we did last Sunday. He faced Oakland or the Athletics at home. That was a much easier spot for him. That Athletics lineup that day, remember, that was like their bottom 6 was just atrocious. You're not going to get that here with Houston. That said, he's much better than a 6K pitcher for his strikeout upside alone. He's been better recently, so that puts him squarely in play for me. Do I love it? No, but if I'm going to go down with these starters, give me the cheap guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That you just need them to survive.
Right. And I'll say this, speaking of just surviving, Alexander going right to George on the other side of this game at 6,500 against Baltimore. Not the cleanest spot. The top 5 for Baltimore, healthy. They match up really well against right-handed pitching, but he's been really very good recently, and he's 6,500. So I don't like any of these guys. Like, there's no way I'm paying 7,500 for Lorenzen when I can pay 6K for Povich.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just sharing the screen here, looking at those two guys. I wanted to see their FanGraphs page while we were talking about them to see if anything popped out, and it does. Alexander, not many strikeouts, and he has a little gap there where he's played for like 3 teams and a couple countries in the last few. Oops, let's go back here to Povich. I don't know why it's showing me balloons. It's not.
I feel like this is one of the weaker pitching slates we've had, even with like the good options up top. Like, these guys aren't great. These guys aren't like Fried's very good, but these guys aren't like the top level of DFS pitchers, and their spots are really tough. And the better they are as far as DFS pitching goes, the tougher their spot is. So like Cease is the best DFS pitcher here. He's in the toughest spot.
Yeah, there's been in chat and on Twitter people calling a lot of these guys fake aces because it seems like the guys that are in good spots, and it started with Tariq Skubal, are just getting roughed up. It's one of those stretches there for baseball where people have not exactly been comforting as we have.
It shows you, for me, what it does is show you how slim the margins are.
Yes, that is a very good call out there. Let's look at the top stacks tool here. Let me get over to my other page or my other screen, and we can go game by game here. There are 3 7-10 games, 2 7-15 games. Those, of course, are featured on Fox. Then you get the lone 8 o'clock game in Coors Field, and then a couple 9 o'clock games, a couple one 10 o'clock game. So the late slate is spread out over an hour, which is a little bit more than usual. Usually you get those last 3 games, 9:38 and later on the Eastern time zone there. So if we look at Cleveland, the Cleveland side of things, they're going against Joey Wentz. Wentz had over his last 575 batters faced a 10.3% walk rate. That's a little bit concerning. He does have an adequate swinging strike rate. It's about 11.5%. Barrel rate, not great, but 8% over these last 2 seasons here. I don't really want to go with him, but how do you feel about it's mostly the lack of strikeouts, just 22% in this frame. How do you feel about him as one last cheapie against your Guardians, or are you looking for the Guardians?
I'm not really looking at the Guardians here. I think it would be Wentz, or I think I would have Wentz a little bit higher than the Guardians just because of this slate and how it looks. That said, it's not like I feel that great about Joey Wentz at 7,200 against the Guardians. Like, I think he's a fine play. I got no issues with it. There's nothing about it that makes him stand out. You've mentioned him a couple times. Why do you like him?
Well, he's the because I'm getting a ton of Kate Povich, and I'm trying to find.
I think Wentz is safer, to be honest. I think Wentz is quote unquote. Well, it depends on how you view safety. In MLB, I think you can view safety. I view safety as strikeout upside because strikeouts, ultimately are the king of pitching points. But if you view safety as in like who's in the better quote unquote spot, then I think Wentz is in the better spot than Povich. I mean, Povich has more blow up upside here than Wentz, in my opinion.
Okay. I go the other direction, which is hilarious, but any given day, one of their 30 starts, who knows exactly what's going to happen here. Don't feel great about either one of them. But God, I guess it's going to be Povich. The thing that, we'll get to Houston in just a second here. So looking for the offenses here, because I know that you're not a huge fan of Slate Ciccone. What do you like about the offenses in our first two games, Atlanta and Cleveland?
You are right. I am not a huge fan of Slate Ciccone. He's overpriced at 8,700 on this slate. Things are starting to – the other shoe is starting to drop, right? Like with him and his underlying numbers and his expected numbers not matching his actual numbers. I don't love the Brave stack here. Like I think they're in play. I think that they're a pivot off of Coors. Everyone is a pivot off of Coors here because the Diamondbacks are going to be the highest owned team. But there are other stacks I think that look better. You're not getting leverage against Ciccone. I think there's upside in the Brave stack. But I think there are worse even though I'm not that high in Ciccone, I think there are far worse pitchers on this slate. So I think Atlanta is a medium to, like, if I were ranking stacks, they'd be like, and I broke it in half, they'd be on the bottom of the top half.
As you break something in half on your desk.
Touche.
All right, let's continue.
That was good.
Yeah, continue on. Now we're at Houston, so I didn't want to color outside the lines there. The Houston lineup, not that great. The lineup that's out there today, not that great against righties. But remember, Rico Garcia should not be going for too long in this one. When we look at how they fare against lefties, things get pretty hairy because you've got Carlos Correa, who is leading off. He's adequate this season. Jose Altuve, a long history of being a lefty killer. Yonier Diaz looks good. Cam Smith sliding back down the lineup a little bit. He looks good. Chas McCormick, yeah, he's your cheap punt guy. But there's a lot of green here. So that does make it the Houston side a little concerning. For me, who is loading up on Povich on DraftKings here. Break down the Houston and then give us any thoughts you have on the batters of Birdland.
Yeah, so this is interesting because I could see this as an all-sider. Like the pitching is so cheap where, like, I don't love either pitcher, but on this slate with weak pitching options, talked about Povich, talked briefly about Alexander, they're wildly in play. Both offenses, though, are good enough offenses. Baltimore at least has talent 1 through 5. Houston, we know what they can do against left-handed pitching. So I like all sides of this. I don't love any side. The best side on paper, points per dollar, is easily Povich. But if you told me you wanted to stack the Stros against the popular Povich, I mean, do your thing. If you told me you wanted to play Alexander and stack Houston or play Povich and stack Baltimore, I see all sides of it. I really do. And I don't usually games aren't four-sided prongs for me like this one.
Okay. And I think that is kind of where I'm landing as well, which just makes things really, really interesting from that vantage point. Anything else from this matchup?
I don't think so, but I will say, like, the Baltimore 1 through 5 is looking pretty tasty.
I would agree. Moving on to our next one here. Kansas City is the team that I like as our best counter move against Coors Field. Of course, you are being asked to spend on a couple of them, which I think makes it even more intriguing here. You've got Bobby Witt Jr. is just incredibly expensive. Miguel Garcia, a little bit spendy, but then you've got Mike Yastrzemski, who I believe he's still 3,800 or 3,900 on DraftKings, so he kind of helps average things down. But Pasquatch is in there, Sal Powell. They're going to get Sean Burke, who's been okay. He's going to be a guy that's going to be in the rotation for the next half decade at least, but he's still got a long way to go, and he's also at a career high 114 pitches. So he is someone I'm willing to pick on here. I didn't get much, it looks like, of the White Sox going against Mike Lorenzen. However, I'm not really getting Mike Lorenzen. Not a lot of strikeouts there. He's a 33-year-old pitcher. We know what we're getting from Mike Lorenzen. What do you see from this Midwest battle?
Yeah, really good hitting weather here today. Best on the slate. So Kansas City and Chicago both look good in the tools. I'd struggle to stack a team like the White Sox against, on a slate like this because there's so many good offenses, but they've been pretty good or not bad against right-handed pitching. Lorenzen's has had some reverse splits issues in his past. KC is going to be owned because they're pretty affordable and they have guys people want to roster like Bobby Witt. I'll say this about KC. Usually if Grichuk's not in the lineup with Yastrzemski's leading off, I think there's big pinch hit risk because they've even said they kind of view those guys as one player. Yastrzemski against righties, Grichuk against lefties, but they're both in the lineup tonight. So less pinch hit risk for both. I think both offenses look good here. I think there are better offenses on this slate. I'd rank them both slightly higher than Atlanta.
Okay. That is a good call up there. So Colton Montgomery is kind of, he has just been on fire recently. Lennon Sosa has also been really good. You've got Tauchman, Benintendi are the guys I prefer. I'm okay leaving off Luis Robert from this stack just because against righties, he has been getting most of his value as a base stealer. He has not had a ton of power against righties this season. So that is where I'm kind of leaning with that. So I'm going to have one of my 20 DraftKings lineups is going to be a Chicago White Sox stack. Reminder to everybody, if you guys have not yet signed up, you can go to Portfolio EV for 7 days free. That is in the YouTube description below us here. If you've not yet signed up and utilize that, you can get this free trial. Portfolio EV is the top-down sports wagering model that we use to pit other books against each other and determine the best odds when also using all of these stochastic engines and data science and simulations behind the scenes to figure out what the true odds are for these occurrences. So check that out. Portfolio EV also supports the social sites like Novig and ProfitX, as well as it has a Pick'em card builder in it. Let's keep moving along here. We have Detroit at Minnesota. We talked about both pitchers a little bit. Hit us with the offenses here, in particular the Twins.
Yeah, so I actually don't have a ton of interest in the Twins. Mize isn't going to get a lot of ownership. He's a good pitcher, just not a great DFS pitcher. The Twins lineup is pretty weak. I mean, I'm good on the Twins. It's the Tigers for me here, man. Like, they look good in the top stack tool. They're not getting ownership. Zabby Matthews is going to be the highest owned pitcher on the slate. The top five of this lineup is very, very good. That's part of the reason I don't like this slate, like I was saying, because I've been playing so much Detroit, but the obvious play is the SP against them tonight. I think they offer the best leverage on the slate. Do I think Zebby's a good pitcher? Yeah, but he's young and volatile, and if he's not getting strikeouts, he's probably giving up hits. So for me, this is a classic. He's getting love because he's 6,700, not because he's like some great pitcher. Now, his 30% strikeout rate is elite, but I don't think we expect that number to continue for the rest of the year. And he's just too cheap, which is why he's getting ownership. So it's a classic DFS, like leveraged against a chalky pitcher because of that pitcher's price point. I mean, that's how I see it, at least. How about you?
No, I would agree. This slate from a high level is hard to gain convictions with.
That's a great way to put it. It is very hard to gain convictions because of everything we've talked about. That's an elite way of saying it. I agree.
Yeah. And normally we'll come down and we'll say, I'm going with this team. or these are my top
Yeah,
two, or
like, you know me,
here's the cheap guy. I don't.
Yeah.
Like, you flip the cards over, like, even playing a head-to-head, I don't know. Should we play Coors Field? Should we not? Do we go to West Sacramento? Do we go against some of the weaker pitchers? Are we going to trust Povich? Do we try to go up top with the guys in the tough matchups? Right? I don't know. I don't have a lean on it today. Trust the tools. That's what I'm doing.
It's one of those where, like, on a lot of slates, the 8th or 9th best stack tonight would be the best stack on a lot of slates.
Yeah. It's a fun puzzle. I mean, it's not, one of those, oh, this slate sucks. It's like, this slate is breaking my brain.
Totally. Everyone's working with the same field.
This is where we should be saying, hey, wait a second. Shouldn't I, I meaning anybody watching this show, and hit the like button if you are watching the show, shouldn't I have an advantage having been, hardcore and ensconced in this for 4.5 months now? I don't know.
Baseball just doesn't work like that.
Good times. Good.
It's just so random on any given night that, like, you can be so entrenched for months, but, like, the Rockies can score 10 runs. Maybe not the Rockies, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. All right. That's Detroit and Minnesota. That gets us to everybody's favorite game, Coors Field. But I mentioned the fun tools that we have here. You know what you guys need? You guys need a way to get in on the fun for a discount. We talked about the Stokastic Hall of Fame. Here's the Stokastic link join. You can see that we've got a handful of operators here. They're continually changing. Won a parlay. They're off now. You guys should have signed up for them. That would have given you a full month of single sport sims had you clicked the button here. You got to come in with our button. Step 2, deposit, place a bet. Step 3, when that bet settles or your lineup card settles, send a screenshot of that along with your welcome email to support@stokastic.com and tell us which sport you'd like to have 30 days of on the Sims. That can be baseball. That can be the NFL, which is right around the corner. This is the Stokastic link join offer. Check that out. It's changing all the time. Well, the offer's the same. The options are changing. Coors Field, I hand it over to you, Matt. I don't think the Rockies are getting enough love. That's my one observation.
Yeah. Nelson's been a guy I've struggled with a lot this year because I don't think he's a great pitcher, but he's pitched pretty well. He's not like the best DFS pitcher, but again, he's pitched pretty well is how I put it. So I don't know what to do with the Rockies because we didn't talk about Nelson really, but I don't think he's a bad play either. Top pitcher tool would suggest the same. He's right behind Povich there. He's cheap at $7K. My brain tells me you're right, though, that the Rockies are the better side of this and that they're not getting enough love. I get it from both angles because at any time, like I used Erod the other night against Colorado because it's Colorado and Erod was really chalky his last start at home against Colorado and was unowned this start. He was good.
And who didn't want to play him in cash? That was this guy.
Well, he was like 5% owned. I mean,
no, on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. He was awful on Sunday.
I guess Saturday it was.
Whatever day that was. He was awful. People were off him. Here, I'm more on Team Rockies than Nelson. But on this pitching slate, I don't think Nelson's a crazy play, I guess is my ultimate conclusion.
Boy, we are just going to have some fun here. I think Samantha Fox one time said that she wanted to have some fun. That is for an audience of like 3 people. Fellow old, shout out if you remember Samantha Fox. God, I can't believe I'm playing Tyler Locklear here. Boy, Heather Locklear. Now that was the play.
Yes, it was. That sure was the play. Melrose Place. I know you watched the Melrose Place.
Oh yeah, Heather be thy name. Oh yeah, Melrose, 90210. Those were the shows, man. That was like reruns really didn't exist. And the smart thing they did on those is Fox played them over the summer, new episodes.
Man, my sister was absolutely obsessed with 90210. Like she's 3 years older than me. Absolutely obsessed growing up.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I was I think maybe senior year of high school was when 90210 came out. Maybe it was the year before. But yeah, we watched it on the summers because when you're in college, we have VCRs, but no TVs in your room, no cable in your room. Things were way, way different.
Now prisoners have their own TVs.
Yeah, now if you weren't watching it live, you weren't going to see it again. So a lot of these shows I just never watched because
you're so right.
Hanging out with the girls or playing basketball or if you had to, studying, of course.
Right.
Oi. All righty, we have plenty of time. About 28 minutes. That's good. I'm about to I want to build a couple more lineups here off camera as I'm working on DraftKings, and then I'm in that Pocket Cup competition. I realize that's 150 lineups, so I'm going to build out 25 in the single lineup sim. I've got a couple more to go, and then I'll put something on the screen and we can look and see what happens there. We'll look at some FanDuel as well. What else do we have? We've got our later games, so let's get on with that fun. Feels. I guess we didn't specifically call out the offenses for St. Louis and New York, even though we talked to them. Anything you want to follow up with on those games since I got carried away and jumped us over to Colorado?
Nah, I mean, that's a game where I think the pitching looks, even if it's too expensive, looks like the high. I mean, there's so many bad pitchers tonight. Like,
yeah.
If you're playing a ton of lineups, sure, get to the Yankees and the Cardinals. Well, more the Yankees, but I mean, it would take me a few lineups to get to the Yankees with Bellinger out, Judge kind of slumping-ish. Like, I'd still Judge. I'll still play him, but I'm not, like, going out of my way to play the Yankees right now.
Yeah, I'm on lineup 23, and I haven't clicked on any Yankees yet for my DraftKings stuff. Let's go to San Francisco. Adrian Hauser against my fellow old Justin Verlander. Not a lot of strikeout stuff for either of these pitchers. Do you want to risk them as an SP2? Would you rather look to the bats? What is your lean on this? It's going to be about 65 degrees for this 6:05 local start time.
This Verlander and Hauser?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is a great example of, like, I love picking on Verlander. Remember we talked about that last Sunday? I love the Nationals on that afternoon slate, and they were really good. I don't know how you can stack Tampa in this ballpark on this slate, even though I love stacking against Verlander right now, and Tampa's lineup sets up great against him. If this game were in Tampa, I would love them, but it's not. Verlander's not bad. He's just not really good at this point. There's too many teams on this slate for me to want to stack in this ballpark. I know last night it was good. Still not a lot of home runs. I'll pay to see it. I'm out on this game offensively, and the pitchers aren't good enough for me to want to play. If I played either pitcher, it'd be Hauser, believe it or not. San Fran just, I don't know. They're not doing it for me.
All right. I concur. Of my lineups, I did not build the San Francisco stack. I probably will do 1 3-man. I did do the top 4 for Tampa Bay. We do have all lineups in, but that was just one of my 25 here. San Diego at Los Angeles. We kind of hit on the pitchers. They're two of the best 4 median fantasy point projection wise. When you get into fantasy point per dollar, that's when you get Povich and you get Zebby Matthews joining that crew, and you start to see these guys slide down just a little bit. What do you want to add here for the who would you want to attack Cease with? Let's ask it that way.
So it's the lefties for sure. I mean, Ohtani's the obvious guy. Freeman, Betts and Smith are good enough where you can play them on any slate. I still believe in Mookie Betts, even though he's having a down year. He's not like the priority play he was, but if I'm stacking the Dodgers, I generally want him. Teoscar Hernandez. The more I look at this spot, the more I like Cease at 9,300. Without Muncie's a big loss for the Dodgers in a spot like this because he's kind of he's like the linchpin of their offense right now, hitting 5th, like the separator. The bottom of this lineup is not great, especially against right-handed pitching. I'm more in on Cease than the Dodgers. If I were picking on the Dodgers, it would be mainly the lefties. But I'll say this, the full stack, because when Cease is off, he's putting guys on, and that's how you can get big innings. The other part of that, though, is the Padres bullpen is elite. So I don't really want to stack the Dodgers here.
No, I think that is a fair call out, and I think that is the correct assessment. We'll be living on a little home run hunting. I think is the way to do it. 2-man,
Totally.
3-man.
Both sides of this game, to be honest, I think you can do that with. Like, I like Tatis a lot.
All right, hit us with the pod squad with what you got.
Yeah, it's kind of similar. Just really good hitters against a pitcher who can be volatile. I'm not going out of my way to stack or pick on Blake Snell, but anytime you can get an elite hitter like Fernando Tatis against a lefty at very low ownership, a guy who's going to run in, remember when I said earlier, the best home run park in baseball. So all of a sudden you're taking them out of San Diego and putting them in LA. I'm interested.
Is that the best home run park because they have 3 former MVPs, current and former MVPs in their lineup? Just putting it out there. And they had such a shitty rotation because everybody was hurt. I don't know. I always like looking and seeing what's happening with the home runs, but sometimes I want, and I'm not discounting what you're saying there at all. It always makes me laugh when there's an unexpected park that pops for like a year or a year and a half. You're like, who was their pitchers again? Right? What? Who? It's a great pitchers park. Who was the offense again? Going against the Chicago White Sox. Are we sure the park is now a pitching park with no renovations?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I don't think that has. I mean, I don't know what goes into it, so I don't really want to speak on that. But
no, but with when you start looking at California, right, then weather comes into play. Right? Was it unseasonably hot? Was it unseasonably cool?
Right.
In Arizona, Lindquist has called this out a gazillion times. They were able to keep the roof open for 2 homestands longer than they normally do because it wasn't beastly hot. Those all make differences. So that's the things that you kind of want to look at there. Or when I had my conspiracy theory when during the pandemic, when the changes that were made to the Giants park increased their offense in that short little sample size. But what we didn't have is the cooler weather month, 2 months at the beginning of the season. And then they had tarped over a new section, which was creating a slight wind tunnel that's not tarped over anymore. So people being there changed that. So, but it's one of those where it's like, really? What's going on with these things? I see Jason says, any weather concerns today? No. There's hints of rain in a couple places, but I don't think anything that is going to be impactful. Hot and humid, warm and humid, different way of saying it. We're not quite at those same super hot temperatures that we were 2-3 weeks ago, but still pretty warm. And the humidity is high in a lot of places because some places do have general rain in the area, but it's more a function of the humidity creating that chance of rain. Last game of the night, West Sacramento, the Angels, the Athletics break us through, and then we'll circle back for everybody as we still have 20 minutes to go here. We'll break down, we'll re-hit on our favorites if we have favorites.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to your point about the conviction thing, right? Like this game, but we didn't even talk about the Diamondbacks like offense at all. We got to go back to that.
Yeah, go ahead and hit on those. They're super spendy.
Yeah, they are. I only say that because we still have time and they're still the top stack, despite how obvious it is to talk about them. I almost feel like if there was a night to play them this weekend, this is it, because they've kind of disappointed the first 2 games. They scored 8 runs the first night, but you only really needed Gurriel, the second catcher in the lineup, homered. So it was one of those type slates. They busted last night. They're still like uber expensive, and there are a lot of good stacks tonight. So we're seeing their ownership is lower than it had been projected. Their top stack is lower, but I do think you see an ownership discount on them tonight than you've seen on other nights. Dolander is probably a better pitcher than they've thrown out there the past 2 games, but he's still not anything great, certainly not proven. And if Arizona is not going to be as highly owned as they've been, and I like cheap pitching, tonight might be the night where I could bite on Arizona. They're still going to be the highest owned stack, so it's one of those, like, you're still going to be playing into ownership. It's going to be hard to win with them because they're going to be owned. But I like Boston a lot today on the early slate. They were the highest owned, but they're not, like, crazy highly owned. And I feel similarly about Arizona, not going to lie.
All right. I'm showing FanDuel here. Arizona number 1, the Angels and Athletics 2 and 3, Colorado 4, levels out with Colorado, KC, Detroit, Houston, etc. They're all kind of jumbled in that mix. Arizona coming to 2x over any other team on FanDuel for the probability of being the highest scoring stack. If we flip back here to let's go to DraftKings. I did that correctly there. Similar rankings there, which makes me think I was not on FanDuel. So let's go back here and just make sure. Oh yeah, it is very similar across the board, which makes sense. So every now and then things flip a little bit because of DraftKings going a little more towards home runs, FanDuel a little bit more towards RBIs and runs, but it looks like nothing too crazy at the top. Same across the board here. What do you like with our final game of the night?
So part of the reason I say that about Arizona is because I think that this game gets a ton of love, even more than we're projecting. The Angels are cheaper than the Diamondbacks considerably, and the Athletics are facing a pitcher that people love to pick on. So this game looks great. I mean, second and third teams in the top stack tool. I think they're both fighting with Arizona. Like, they're both fighting with each other as the easy pivot away from Arizona. Everyone else is going to be relatively low owned outside of maybe Kansas City. I mean, what's not to like? You get this minor league park, unproven righty that's not going to go long for the A's against the Angels lineup that sure can strike out, but they have power. And then Tyler Anderson against the Athletics. If you're stacking the A's, don't forget guys like Kurtz, who, you know, Anderson's had reverse splits for a long time. So both these lineups look great. I think Arizona looks better. And if ownership is going to be comparable, give me Arizona. But maybe it's not. We'll have to wait and see how ownership actually comes in, because the Athletics are very expensive. I think ownership probably goes like, you know, Arizona will be the highest owned, but then the Angels will have a few guys that are higher owned than a few guys in Arizona. The Athletics will be below that.
Yeah, and I mean, Langler's 5.9 on DraftKings, Rooker 5.6, Kurt 6.1.
Yeah, they're buku expensive. Yeah, so you're right. Like, Arizona will be lower owned than Arizona. The Athletics will be lower owned to that point.
But Colby Thomas batting cleanup at 2,400. Come on down. There's your lock and load outfielder. It should just he should just be pre-installed in all lineups tonight. So
yeah, he looks great.
Like Zach Neto is at 5K. Mike Trout popping up there 4.6. What Mike Trout? Where have you gone, my friend? Where have you gone? Been a rough injury history here. All right, circling back, I'm putting up the DraftKings here. Look, the DraftKings level, this is 150 unencumbered. DraftKings is completely pushing Matthews and Povich. I'm building out my 130 lineups here for 125 lineups for the Pocket Cup, because I'm going to play my other lineups in that. So I'm going to tweak a few of these here. I'm a little surprised it's so heavy at the top, but if I tap these guys just a little bit, I want to see what transpires, and does it change? What does it change with the other pitchers there? So I'm comfortable with being just a little above the field on Matthews. I'm okay being 50% higher on Povich, getting a little more love there for Cease, Gray, Snell, Nelson now on 17% of my lineups. I'm okay with that. Not a ton of max free. I'm also okay with that. The 10,000 price tag, the inconsistent strikeout stuff, even though it's against a watered down Redbirds lineup, I'm fine with not going all aboard on that. We're seeing that a lot of Athletics and a lot of Houston stacks. I'm happy to see the Houston stacks there because I have so much Povich in my other 25 lineups. So I am going to just do 125 lineups here, download this, and get that on out of here. Look at the chat. I'm sure I'm missing some questions here. What do we have? Malakar. Oh, Malakar had a really good week, by the way. He sent a little while ago, a few YouTube memberships there. Malakar finished, was it second or third in the $40,000 contest? So I think he ended up clearing $3 or $4 grand, $5 grand, something wild like that. Malakar, take a bow in chat. And if Amy's around, she's got those two crushing awesome finishes in the tiers contest as well over the last week and change. Let's see here. We have 14 minutes to go. Talk through your How is the dust settling for you? If you were going to build, we'll do cash game pitchers on DK, and then we'll do a single lineup stack on DK. On screen, I am going to build out my 6 single lineups for
Yeah, so I'm going to say Arizona's the best stack. I mean, I don't think they're going to be owned like the top stack or as they should be owned, and I'll bite.
All right. Your cash game pitchers. It's got to be Zebby Matthews.
Oh, yeah.
But who is number 2?
I think Sonny Gray.
Really? Okay.
Actually, yeah. I mean, do you think Povich? Like,
I was going Cease, but it's Cease or Povich for me.
Yeah, let's go Cease because I think he's the best pitcher on the slate.
Just to keep things a little spicy here. FanDuel, let's see. Are they? No, Kurtz isn't too expensive. Now, the thing about that I did want to mention for Tyler Anderson, he tends, he's the savvy veteran. He has been around the league forever. Usually ends up getting some sort of injury, lives and dies by that fly ball on the warning track here. So he is someone that doesn't implode, but he could give up, let's say it this way, he could give up 3 home runs and 4 runs total in his 5 innings.
Totally.
This just does, as I'm deciding on who to click here for my different lineups, I'm not feeling froggy, to borrow a phrase from Josh Engelman, about any of these clicks I'm making here. Maybe let's go with Zebby. What's the Zebster up to here? He's 8,400. Gives me a little salary savings. Oops. So you guys see what I'm doing here. Josh and Laffy do the perfect lineup show Monday through Friday. It's a quick video that they put out. It's about a 10-minute video, and they break down who their favorite pitchers are, who their favorite stack is, and then they put together this in the single lineup sim and let the single lineup sim build things out around it. So you also get a chance to get discounts on various products because they are running home run contests. And let's just say that Laffy has had to carry Josh in these home run contests. So shout out to Laffy for doing all that heavy lifting. Let's hit complete here. Boy, God, this is just going to be, I'm going to be watching the Houston game and the Minnesota game because that's where all my pitchers are coming from. That. Boy. All right. Who are you afraid the field is going to get right and you would get wrong on this slate?
Probably, that's a good question. The field doesn't have any strong leans except for Arizona and Zebby. So I think Zebby, because I don't think I'm going to match the field on Zebby. So Zebby.
Yeah, man, Verlander keeps popping up in my FanDuel lineups, and I don't want him because I don't think he gets the quality start. I don't think he's going to go 6 innings.
Yeah, makes sense.
I guess let's see what ugliness happens if I put Cease in here because I got I got a little bit of money left. Okay, let's take out Witt. Let's let that complete that lineup, and then we'll build things out. Yeah, so Texas Chad has been on a heater in those contests. Yep, that's very true for that perfect lineup there. One last thing. 5150, or what are we talking about? Why are we getting the spam? 5150 is what is that called? Van Halen album. What else do we have in the tools here, or in the questions? Nothing really in the questions. Everybody's concerned. This is the slate of the unknowns is what we're looking at here. I need to do one last stack. I'm going to do, I don't know that I want to do this, but here we are. We're doing a mix of Coors Field. Oh, Alec Karros. That's not even the right name. Wrong sport and wrong family. But let's complete that one last. No, I know what they're going to give me, and I'm going to make it give me a different player. We're going to go with Sonny Gray in this one. Complete the lineup. Bob Seymour is my $2,000 player with Tyler Fitzgerald as my $2,200. Ooh, minus 20% ROI. Well, you know what? I'm running it anyway. If Zebby is popular, is a Tiger stack in play tonight? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You really want to look at the top 5 guys. Well, top 6. When did Juancio Perez become a consistent power hitter?
I don't know if I'd say consistent, but power hitter.
Yeah, sure. Power hitter. He's got an ISO that is the envy of a lot of players. Who are your? And I'm gonna upload my lineups here. So who is your home run play for the day?
Fernando Tatis. I mentioned him earlier. Give me Tatis to go yard tonight.
I'm going to go with Riley Green because I just know somebody is going to ruin my Zebby Matthews experience today. Riley Green with a little Cam Smith on the side. I'm doing the opposite. Greg picks his most hitters. I'm picking against my most owned pitchers because that is the kind of slate we are looking at tonight. Which is just wacky. Let me kick off a sim here for FanDuel. And let's go back here, 5,000, do our stack exposures. And let's generate lineups. I'm getting my upload file ready. Sorry, I've been getting better about doing the upload files in a timely fashion. That just didn't happen for this show today. Bear with me. But if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put those in chat. I will circle back on those.
One of the greatest things ever happened to me right now. I got to tell you, I'll tell you at the end of the show. So I thought I came in second in the 555 early. I checked after all the scores were done, but they hadn't counted the Mets pitcher win, who I used. So I just checked again, and I won it. I know. I couldn't even believe it because that game ended. God. That game ended before the Boston game. So I don't know how the Bayo's win was counted before the Mets pitcher, but we'll take it.
They probably didn't have his name spelled right or something.
Something like that, yeah. Little smaller contest than normal, but we'll take it. I mean, we will take it. I was telling you before the show how things have been going, so we'll take it.
Absolutely. Look, I feel, it all started with my diatribe that allowed Agustin Ramirez to get you that home run. Everything came together. Everything's coming up Maddie Bellman today.
Something like that.
Why is that? Did I not sign up for the right contest? I guess I didn't. All right. We are 5 minutes out. I'm going to get my FanDuel lineups here. Make sure I'm still sharing the screen. Let's look at pitchers. I'm okay going a little above the field. Let's do 17, 17, 17, 17, 17. Why don't we just do 17 on everybody? Let's see what happens. I would love to finish top 3 again in this quarter contest here. Jeez Louise, Ohtani coming in on 60% of my lineup. That feels a bit aggressive.
That's, tough. The leverage is real, but you're also paying full price for him. It's tough on this slate. There's a lot of things to like about him, though.
A lot of things to like, but additionally, that means I'm not getting a lot of Coors Field. So let's hit some adjustments here. Unfavorite, refavorite. Look at the stacks. Tony. Oh, look, that's relatively flat. Let's give 1 tick to Colorado.
I'm just looking at the Discord right now too, and I just got to say, like, I can't remember who said it. Multi-sport coach is saying that Zebby's ownership is out of control. The Tigers going to smash him. I agree with half that. Zebby's ownership is out of control. I don't think the Tigers smash him, but his ownership is going to be like on a slate with Max Fried, Dylan Cease, Sonny Gray, Blake Snell. He's going to be by far the highest owned pitcher. Do with that what you will.
All right, I am getting my lineups uploaded here. What else do you want to mention? Buy me a moment here, good sir.
Yeah, for sure. You know I got you. I will say, I guess, you mentioned Casey Mize. That had me thinking about Adrian Hauser. I can't do it. Like, if he was a lefty, this Giants lineup is so bad against lefties, but he's not. I think we kind of talked this slate out. It all goes back to what you said earlier. It's a tough slate to have conviction. If you have conviction on this slate, God bless you. Tough for me to see it personally.
All right, that gets me to uploading this. I had to clear cache and history, which means I have to go re-enter all these passwords. But we got FanDuel up, we got DraftKings up. I guess I will miss the first wave of games here for Yahoo. It is what it is. But I am a man of the people, man of the craft here. So I will be okay with that because there's only 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. But you guys can get us here tomorrow at 12:30. We will be breaking down the Sunday slate. Be interesting to see, does FanDuel decide to reach for those 3-4 o'clock games since there's only 3? They did a couple weeks ago. They didn't last week when there's 5. What does DraftKings do? We'll find out. But most likely we will be going live at 12:30. We will go an hour before whatever the DraftKings lock time ends up being. So you guys can find Matt on Twitter at Fantasy Tips Matt. Go congratulate him there on his win this afternoon live on air. You can find me at EMAC DFS. And of course, it is Stokastic_COM. With that, gamers, good luck and hit that like button.